Springtime here in Montana. Turkeys are gobbling like crazy, the flowers are blooming, rivers are rising, bears are coming out of their den. A perfect time to get out and just take in what Montana has to offer. My brother usually comes out every year for elk season. However, he's never hunted bears before and it's been on his bucket list, so.
You know, Montana is an absolutely gorgeous place, but most of the hunting that I usually do out here is in the fall. I'll go elk hunting or deer hunting with you. But coming out here in the spring, oh my gosh, I mean, there's nothing that rivals how beautiful it is here.
There he is right there. I'm just gonna wait for him to clear that range.
Montana Full Circle is brought to you by Buffalo Bore Ammunition, Strictly Business, Leupold Optics, Slumberjack, CVA, Bergara, Bog Pod, Caldwell, Tipton, Nanook, Heat Factory, Chef's Choice, Pete Ryer, Zenick, Bitterroot Brewing, and Montana Department of Agriculture reminds you to educate yourself on the harmful effects of noxious weeds.
Here in Montana, we're not allowed to bait bears or use hounds to hunt them, so it's strictly a spot and stalk. I kind of bring my elk hunting tactics into this, and I get to a high vantage point and glass as much country as I can looking for these bears in the springtime.
So back home in Minnesota, and I know in Wisconsin and places like that, you're able to bait bears, and the general public finds that kind of disheartening in the fact that, you know, you're setting out this trap for an animal, and it's not exactly, it's not fair chase hunting. And you know, you come out here and it's spot and stalk. I mean, this is tougher in my mind than looking for elk, because when you're looking for elk, a lot of times you're looking for 20, 30 animals that are moving around in the woods versus one black spot that's, you know, on a hillside and you're going through the trees. This is true, real spot and stalk, fair chase hunting. I mean, you versus that animal, and who can outsmart who?
More times than not, it seems like we get outsmarted, and their sense of smell is phenomenal. If you don't have the wind with you, don't even try it. It's time to walk away.
Hey, Adam.
Hey, Poke, how goes it?
Good.
Good. Say, brother is in town. We're gonna try to run up and do some bear hunting. You mind if we go up here? Or?
No, now's a good time to ask, 'cause I need a little bit of help today.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna brand these calves right now.
Next thing I knew, we were in the middle of a branding. I don't know quite how it all worked out, but it sounded like he needed a hand as we were about to head up bear hunting. So there we are in camouflage, wrestling calves.
You want to run a vaccine gun?
I got to get the full Montana experience on this trip here. It's an experience I'll never forget. In fact, well, after rolling around in the mud with the calves a little bit, I don't maybe want to forget it. But you know, it was quite the experience. I never got to basically wrangle a calf before and help out with some chores on the farm.
Get him down, flip him, yeah! Hold on to him to kick him the right way, and away they go. Helping my neighbor brand his calves is kind of like a reciprocal arrangement. We're able to go out there, help him brand his calves, and in return, we get to go up on the mountain and hunt bears, which are the exact same bears that come down and threaten his calves. We're able to go up there and take one of these threats away of his livelihood and taking his calves. And we get a great time to go up there, spend some time together, and look for a good bear.
Last one, fellas. All right, let him go, boys.
You going that way, bud?
Good job.
All right, we'll get after it, see if we can go find a bear. But anytime, give me a call. I love doing this kind of stuff.
All right, guys, thanks.
Learning little by little.
See you, Aaron.
Yep, it's good seeing
Thanks.
you.
Well, we've been up here glassing, and we just spotted a bear. We're gonna try to run on over and get over to it and see if we can find it. We had about a mile or so away. Way over there. Well, we just got up to our glassing point and almost immediately found a bear across about the same spot I saw one a year ago. So we'll see if we can get on over there and see if we can get a bear.
Let's do this. We're running out of light.
Let's do it. Let's get it. I see him coming across. Okay, let's get rolling. Well, after we got done branding, we got up to a high point and finally glassed a bear. I think it took us 5 minutes and we finally had a bear. I said, there's a bear right there. Let's try to get down and get after him. And we worked our way down the mountain as quick as we could and got over towards where he was, and I'm just not seeing him. But that's the way bear hunting goes. You see them, they go tuck into some brush and they pop back out. Bear hunting here in Montana is different than most places. We can't bait, so it's all 100% spot and stalk. Fair chase hunting, and that's what it's all about. You see some animals, they disappear, you gotta find another one and try to get her done. But first day out, so looks like we're having a good one so far. Then I realized that he probably had crossed over a fence and gone onto another piece of private property.
Yeah, so what kind of chores are you talking here to get onto that kind of property?
Buffalo bore ammunition is premium grade ammunition. It is the most powerful and accurate ammunition made anywhere. Our loads are purpose designed. When the moment of need arises, you are prepared. We make the world's best self-defense pistol ammunition as well as hunting ammunition. Find us at your local retailer or factory direct at buffalobore.com.
All these native plants will disappear in a couple of years if the leafy spurge goes untreated. As you can see behind me, it has completely taken over all the native plants. That's why it's so important to keep our native flowers up and going and keep these invasives out of there. When these invasives start coming in and taking over, we really do lose a lot of our elements that keep these animals healthy. You know, a lot of these invasives are poisonous and, if nothing else, take over and choke out our native flowers. And it's really important to keep working on that and get rid of these invasive species, just like Montana Department of Agriculture does a phenomenal job working on invasive species here in Montana.
That bear was made to eat that plant. It was been thousands and thousands and thousands of years eating that plant, and you bring in things that aren't supposed to be here and might make the bear sick or just inedible for it, you know, and then you start pushing out native, you know, you're getting non-native plants that are here, but then also you're wiping out native animals because they don't have the food source that they used to have.
Yeah, it's a downward spiral once those invasives start coming in, for sure. Got him?
Got him.
He said, well, I got a neighbor over here that's been asking me to help him out with some Colombian ground squirrels that, you know, have been digging up his cow pastures, and he's had some problems with some cows getting hurt.
All right, Aaron, see if you can get your first prairie dog. Colombian ground squirrel. Hi.
Unlike bear hunting, it's kind of a target-rich environment. So we took out the 223 and some buffalo bore ammunition.
Smoked him. Nice. There's a place for all these animals. I mean, there's a place on the mountainside for the Colombian ground squirrels to go run wild where they're not hurting anything. But when they start getting into the fields, they become a pest. Smoked him. Smoked him. It's never going to be eradication. It's going to be a suppression deal and try to knock down the populations to a socially acceptable level. And we sure had fun trying to do that.
We tried to eradicate them in a small area.
You got him?
Got him.
We had a great time out here shooting, took a few prairie dogs. Now we're gonna head on up so we can find some good black bear. Let's make it happen.
Americans, we're about doing, not talking. Find American boots on the ground, and you'll find us too. Loophole. American to the core.
My favorite tactic for hunting bears is get to a high vantage point and just sit there and glass. You just never know when a bear might step out from behind a tree. There's the bear up towards the top of that opening. A long ways away, but hopefully we can find him when we get over there. Up here glassing and finally spotted a bear. I can't reiterate enough at how important good optics are, and with the loophole spotting scope and binos, I mean, we have next to none. There's nothing better out there right now. We just glassed this bear about 3.5 miles away, so we're gonna try to hustle over there and see if we can get him within range.
It doesn't matter how many times I come out here, I am humbled by the amount of walking that you have to do up and down hills. I mean, it is amazing how good of shape you need to be. You know, when I think I'm in good enough shape, I come here, and Adam's the ultimate humbler when it comes to going up and down mountains. I think he's half mountain goat, but I don't know. We'll have to ask Mom about that one. You know, you can get put in spots where you're pushing it hard. I mean, you're redlining it, trying to get to these spots to find these animals, because I mean, there's nothing easy about it. You know, you're gonna work hard for everything you get.
Well, we know the bear's working in here real good because all the arrow leaf balsam root is tore up back behind us, and there's multiple piles of scat that are really, really fresh, you know, from today or yesterday. So hopefully he, like I said, he'll show himself when we can make this happen.
Next thing you know, lo and behold, you find the bear, but it's on the next ridge. And whether it's the same bear or not the same bear, it was still another ridge away.
It was another ridge. Yeah, that bear was probably 1,200 yards as the crow flies, and about 900,000 vertical feet to go down and go back up to him. Yep. And then it was the decision: do we try to get after him? It's starting to get dark. You know, do we get after him quick? You know, can Aaron get over there and get to him, or do we back off and try to come back the next day and try to find him? it didn't take long to realize that we had to go after him. There was no choice at that point.
5 to 8, and he's heading uphill.
Keep hustling, we gotta hustle, because it's like, you got 15, 20 minutes to get up there to him.
It was very evident to me that I wasn't going to keep up with Adam, and I wasn't probably going to get there in time for, to make a shot on this bear.
I was concerned that if we took our time to get up there, we weren't going to make it happen, and I was really nervous about that.
And he's the only one, between the two of us that's going to get up there in time to shoot this bear before it gets too dark. And so we made the decision that he's going to end up taking the camera and take the gun and take the shooting sticks and his backpack.
That bear's right there, dude.
It amazed me how quickly he got from where I was standing to a spot. I was waiting to see him kind of come up from the bottom, start working his way up, but I look up and all I see is orange going, halfway up this hill. And, he covered some ground in 15 minutes. It was pretty impressive.
And it's amazing how quick you can cover ground when that adrenaline gets kicking. And once I got 3/4 of the way up where I figured that bear was, I really slowed down, got my shooting breath, found a good tree, I dropped my pack, and just kept on with just the camera and the gun. But, tiptoeing around, big camera and tripod in one hand, gun and shooting sticks in the other, I'm walking on up and I'm trying to look for the bear. And all of a sudden I take a few steps and all of a sudden I see ears up and then a head just moving and I'm like, he's right there. He is right there. And at that point, he couldn't have been more than 50 yards away. I think it was about 5 moves. It finally, I kept seeing the bear, but at this point anymore, we're not just hunting. We're trying to make a show and trying to get it footage, and that's where everything changes. I could have had him shot from the first beginning part, but that camera, I kept looking at that and I could just see just a little bit of him in the camera. And it's one of those that you try to get that good footage and try to bring that, so you can bring that back into the home for all these other viewers. And that's what, for me anymore, that just makes the hunt that much more exciting. It makes you patient, makes you respect the game, and it just makes you enjoy what's going on there. And you get to live that moment. For me, it was about 15 minutes longer this year.
Yeah, well.
It was.
There he is right there. I'm just gonna wait for him to clear that ridge.
After that first shot, I knew I hit that bear real good, and I knew that buffalo bore ammunition did its job, but that bear came on down and he was rolling, he was coming quick, and he was literally 30, 40 yards away. And as Dad always says, just shoot till they stop moving, and rightfully for the animal. You don't want him to suffer, so had to get that other shot in him, and thank God, because he would have rolled down to the bottom of the drainage 1,000 feet down, and who knows what would have been left by the time he got down there. Bear hunting is one of those things that I've always had a hard time figuring out what side of the fence I'm on. There's something spiritual about bears, and I've struggled with this, and I've gotten out, and when I walked up to that bear this year, one of those, I had to give a prayer. I gave thanks for him, and just to sit there and look at him and just see how amazing that those animals are, how well put together they are, how strong, the way he kept going. They are just a sheer powerhouse. But I'm just torn about how to really feel about bear hunting. But being a wildlife biologist, I understand the need for everything, and we need to manage our predators. We need to manage our wolves, our bears, our mountain lions, and without managing these species, we won't have these deer and elk herds that we really need, we cherish, we rely on for food source. To me, that's what makes me justify bear hunting, is trying to keep all of our animals in equilibrium and keep our ecosystem balanced. hunting is conservation. I feel the Elk Foundation has got that 100% correct. Bears are in here feeding on this arrowleaf balsam root, but absolutely incredible. Dark's coming upon us here quick. We're gonna have to get them taken care of. Get in there, get them gutted, get them cleaned out, get them skunned, and get the meat down so we don't waste any meat. So it's gonna be a late night, but that's just the way it goes. So, end of the night bear, beautiful evening. Couldn't ask for better company. Happy to have my brother out here with me. It's great, great times. I was pretty bummed that you weren't able to get up there and harvest this animal for your first bear, but to be able to sit from across the drainage and watch the whole thing unfold, I mean, I feel like just spend that time with you, living 1,200 miles away.
For sure.
Our time anymore together is limited.
It's not about pulling trigger. I mean, that's the whole point. Hunting isn't about killing. It's just about what's, everything else that was going on. And I had a heck of a day. I had a heck of a week. I got a front row seat anyway.
Fantastic. I'm glad you were able to be here with me.
That was the interesting part. I was sitting across the valley, but you must have set up 3-4 times on him before you're finally able to get the shot. And looking through my binos, I could, I saw you have the gun up, and then I, that buffalo bore ammunition just popped off, and he just started rolling. There was nothing. It was just a done deal. You put that second shot in the neck, but that was just purely just to make sure.
Yeah. I didn't want him to roll down the mountain. If he would have went about 10, 15 more feet, he would have rolled all the way down to the creek. So trying to keep this hide good and not tenderize his meat, but definitely a deadly combo between that buffalo bore ammunition and those loopholed optics. I mean, it's incredible. I cannot stress enough how important optics are when you're spotting bears. Beautiful bear, beautiful color. Now we got some work, so
Now we got to hump this thing out.
let's get bloody.
All right.
Let's do it. Thanks, Hoss.
Montana Full Circle is brought to you by Buffalo Bore Ammunition, strictly business, Loophole Optics, Slumberjack, CVA, Bergara, Bog Pod, Caldwell, Tipton, Nanook, Heat Factory, Chef's Choice, Pete Ryer, Zenick, Bitterroot Brewing, and Montana Department of Agriculture reminds you to educate yourself on the harmful effects of noxious weeds.